What is going on, YouTube land? I am Chris Catalunya. Before we get into this video, go ahead and hit up my Instagram, Chris Catalunya with the underscore at the end. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And hit me up with a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. All right, let's get into it. So today we are about to head to SneakerPolitics because SneakerPolitics is actually releasing the Nike Prestos off-white, the black and the white pairs. And what's interesting about today is they're doing a raffle, but in order to get a raffle ticket, you have to either put up $40 for a raffle ticket or you can donate a pair of shoes. So a new pair of shoes or slightly used shoes. So I actually hit up my Payless yesterday, bought these shoes for $7 a piece. I bought 4 boxes and I have 4 people with me that are gonna try to cop, and yeah, that's the raffle today. So right now we're gonna head to SneakerPolitics in downtown Austin, Texas, and hopefully we get a pair. Hopefully we get 2 pairs. So, in watching the first portion of this video, you know that SneakerPolitics here in Austin, Texas was hosting a raffle in which they were giving away pairs of these Nike Air Presto off-whites. Now, in donating one of the 3 items, the recipient for this was the Center for Child Protection. Now, this is an organization here in Austin, Texas that helps out kids that have been sexually abused. And I know these situations happen. I know there are kids that are sexually abused, but it was crazy just to go to the website and realize that 1 in 10 children are sexually abused by the age of 18. That's just a crazy number to me. So knowing that our efforts in donating these shoes or donating money was going to a good place, I definitely felt better even if I lost out on these shoes. So when everything was getting started, SneakerPolitics had a weird way of raffling off these shoes. They actually had like 3 different games. They had a game in which 5 winners from this game is like dice throwing, where if someone rolled a 7 or 11, you were guaranteed a pair. They had another game where you were just shooting basketball, and if you made the basketball in a little Tikes hoop, 5 of those winners would get shoes or guaranteed wins. And another game was where it was like cornhole, and if you got into the hole, you win. It was definitely not a traditional sneaker raffle. It was definitely interesting. It was very time consuming, but it was fun. All right, so let's actually get into this shoe review. Now in my hand, I have a Nike Air Presto with a collaboration from Off-White. Now this is one of 3 Air Prestos released with that collaboration of Nike and Off-White. The first one being back in September 2017 when it was released with the 10 series. That shoe was like black and white. It had a little more color to it. This one is pretty much all black aside from the swoosh, and then the white ones that were also released today. So the original drop date for the black ones was July 27th of 2018. The all-white ones dropped today, which is August 4th or August 3rd, 2018. Now, these shoes retailed at $160, and you add your 8% of tax. And looking on secondary market, this particular pair, the black ones, are going for about $700. So there is quite a bit of money to be made off of these shoes if you intend to flip them. Now, before I go any further into this video, I will let you know that this is not my shoe. This is a shoe that I borrowed from a friend of a friend. And yeah, I'm just thankful that they let me borrow the shoe so I could do this video right here. I never can cop off-white stuff on sneakers or at in-store raffles. I'm just really bad at that. I just have really bad luck, and I kind of want to attribute that to the fact that I always like trash Virgil Abloh and say that, oh, he stole this design, he stole this design. I just put some bad juju on myself. So most of the upper is comprised of a mesh material, a black mesh material. And it's cool because you'll see some holes in the shoe and it just looks really good with this Air Presto. A normal Air Presto has like a neoprene upper. This, not the same. So looking at the lateral side of the shoe, you do see this Nike swoosh right here in like a tan or gray colorway, and it's pretty cool. It looks like it's done up in like a suede material, but that suede looks like on the top of it, it's coated with a plastic, a clear plastic, and that plastic is ribbed. So you can take your fingernail and run against it horizontally and feel that ribbed. And this Nike swoosh is stitched into the lateral side of the shoe in a zigzag black thread, and that's pretty cool. It gives it more of that deconstructed feel. Now, at the bottom of that swoosh is that signature orange tab, and that's also stitched under that zigzag stitch of the swoosh. On the medial side of the shoe, you will see that meshing that wraps around, but you will also see some white font right here, and it says Off-White for Nike, Nike Air Presto, Beaverton, Oregon, USA, created in 2000. Now this paint job was done in white paint. It looks like some white Angelus. It actually looks like a really shoddy job. It looks like someone got their Cricut machine, cut out a stencil, applied it to the mesh material right here, and started painting with a paintbrush. And it just really looks super shoddy. I'm not a fan of it. I definitely think they could have did a way better job if they like screen printed it or did something with it. It just looks terrible. And what I'm also upset at is that ink, it's also on the cage of the laces right here, and I don't think the camera can show it very well, but you'll see like ink on the inside of the cage. So again, this looks super shoddy. If I'm paying $160 for the shoe, that's super terrible. Better yet, if I'm paying resale on the shoe, that's horrible. I know people are going to be like, hey, it plays into that deconstructed look, but at least make that deconstructed look a little more decent. So now that I mentioned the paint job and how it got onto the cage, let's talk about the cage and the lacing system of this particular Air Presto. So the cage or the lacing system protrudes from where the midsole meets the upper of the shoe. So it protrudes up, and at the end of the lacing system, you see these holes or these eyelets for the laces. Now on the medial side of these Air Prestos, you will see that it says Prestos, and that's pressed into that TPU or rubberized plastic. Now these laces are done up in black and they are oval shaped. And at the end of the laces, you'll see in white font, that white Helvetica font, you'll see in traditional off-white fashion, in quotation marks, it says shoelaces. And the end of the shoelaces or the oglets, they're just done up in black and plastic coated. They're nothing special. Now let's say you don't like these black laces. Well, they come with a pair of orange laces that actually match the orange tab right here on the swoosh. And these are pretty cool. I might have switched them out with the orange laces, and they also have that shoelaces font right there in Helvetica and printed up in white. Now back to the lateral side of the lacing system. Again, you have the straps reaching up, but you also have this red zip tie right here. Again, typical fashion of Off-White branding. Now on this plastic red zip tie, you'll see on this tab right here, it says Off-White, CO Nike, created in 2017, zip tie in the quotation marks. Now the toe box of the Air Presto. I really like this feature of the shoe. Again, the upper is done up in that meshing material. But if you were to get an original Air Presto shoe, you'll see that it's done in that neoprene material, and you won't see any seams at the front of the shoe. Versus this one, the Off-White one, you'll see the seam reaching from the lateral side, going around the toe box and reaching up to the medial side into the tongue. And I like that characteristic about that shoe. I'm glad they didn't flip it and put it on the inside of the shoe. I'm glad that it's on the outside of the shoe. It just plays more into that deconstructed look of the shoe. Now from the toe box and reaching up to the tongue, you will see this gray portion right here, and it is an exposed gray foam. And I don't know how I feel about foam. I just think foam or exposed foam on a shoe looks very cheap. I get it, it's deconstructed, but just to see it on the shoe, it just to me brings it down in value. So foam, while comprising most of the tongue, is actually sandwiched in between a layer of that black mesh right here. I do appreciate this tongue sandwich. Again, it's that meshing, foam, and then mesh. And when you look at this tongue too, you will see shapes taking form on the tongue. You'll see like rectangles right here and going along the tongue. These are formed by black stitching going up and horizontally along the tongue. Looking towards the top of the tongue, you will see two lines of red stitching going from the medial side of the shoe to the lateral side of the shoe. And on the lateral side of the shoe, you will see that stitching meets a white label with some red embroidery on it. Now embroidered on that label is the Nike logo with the red swoosh. And this looks pretty cool on the shoe. So we are on the heel of this Nike Air Presto. You'll see in the middle this gray line, or it might be like a charcoal. You'll see this gray line reaching from the top of the heel, meeting the midsole of the shoe. You'll also see like this nylon strap reaching from the medial side of the shoe, looping at the heel and reaching right here to the lateral side of the shoe, and it is being secured by some Velcro right there. Now at the end of this nylon strap is a leather portion that is sewn off to protect the nylon from fraying. But also on that nylon strap, it has a good width to it. You will see in quotations Air, which again is signature Off-White branding. And of course, it's done up in that Helvetica font. So with most of Nike's shoes, or more particularly with their running shoes, you'll know that it's done up in a Phylon material. The midsole is done up in Phylon, which is an EVA or a foam technology to provide more cushioning for the shoe or your foot. So on this particular shoe, it's done up in all black. Now on the lateral side of this shoe, you'll see a swoosh right here indented into that EVA foam. And on the medial side of the shoe, that Nike swoosh is predominant in that TPU or rubberized material. It's actually not imprinted on that Phylon or EVA material. Now in the midsole or inside the Phylon material right here is supposed to be a Nike Air bed. Whether that's a full length or only at the heel, I'm not too sure. I definitely want to assume that it's at the heel of the shoe because it's kind of skinny towards the front. You'll know that you have some more cushioning outside of just that Phylon material. Moving on to the sole or the outsole of the shoe, we actually have two different technologies going on. We have that BRS 1000 system going on, and we have some Duralon technology right here. Let's focus more on this Duralon for the moment. Now, Duralon is a Nike specific technology. It is a synthetic rubber that is very lightweight and soft. Now, in stating that it's soft and lightweight, it is the part of the shoe or the part of the Nike running shoe that tends to wear out the fastest. It's definitely going to run out faster than the rest of this shoe. Now, Duralon is typically found on the forefoot of a Nike running shoe because it creates that soft impact. When you're hitting the ground, with your toe, it creates that soft impact. It absorbs a lot of that energy that you're putting onto the ground. But in saying that, the con is that this, being that it's soft, it wears out quicker than the rest of the shoe. Now let's go back to that BRS 1000 technology. So BRS and BRS 1000 actually stands for Blue Ribbon Sports. Now, Blue Ribbon Sports, if you didn't know, was what Nike was first called when they started. And this I'm not too sure of. I don't know if this is the first iteration of the technology and it's just maintained its role since then. But BRS 1000 is the most durable synthetic rubber on any Nike shoe. And that synthetic rubber is somehow compounded with carbon, and how that makes sense and how that makes it more durable, I don't know. I did bad in chemistry. Taking the insole out of the shoe, it was glued down pretty well. You have this bed of insole. It's done up in like a black fabric, and towards the heel of the shoe, you see this white going on. It says the 10 in black font, and then you have this off-white branding right here with the arrows going diagonally. Now this black fabric is laid on top of a blue piece of foam, and it's pretty thin. It doesn't look to provide too much cushioning, but again, you're on that Phylon material, you're on that Nike Air bed that's probably only at the heel and not extended full length. I think I did a pretty good job in explaining the materials used on this Nike Off-White Air Presto shoe. Out of the three colorways that are now available, the white, the black, and then that other one, the first one, I think the first one are still my favorite. This one would probably be second, and then the white ones, because they are white, would be my last pick. I think they would get dirty pretty easily. At the $160 price point, I don't think that it's justified. I mean, they're using that exposed foam right here, which I understand deconstructed, but at $160, I just expect a more quality shoe. Now, is this my favorite off-white Nike shoe? Definitely not. The Blazers are still my favorite, but again, I'm the guy that wears like skate shoes all the time. I love my Vans, I love my Converses. This is cool, but it's not my style. All right, guys, that is pretty much my in-depth review of that Nike Off-White Air Presto colorway, the black colorway. Which one's your favorite colorway? Let me know down in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up if you truly enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm only trying to bring you better content. All right, guys, I'll check you later. I'm Chris Catalunya. Cheers.